by their product. High-density polyethylene we've used in a few locations where it's appropriate for the process and such. I don't think that there's, you know, the PVC folks will tell you that their pipe's going to last 100 years. It's not susceptible to corrosion. It's durable as long as it's not exposed to the sun when it's buried. It has very little degradation. The jury's still out. PVC's only been allowable for a dozen or 20 years or so, and we may find out. You know, again, I hate to make you think that the engineers don't know everything, but
the engineers don't know everything.
We see some things that we look back 20, 30 years ago and say, gee, you know, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and it turns out it's a problem. I like to think we're past that, but I'll tell you for sure in a few decades.
Yeah.
Bruce, anything else?
I mean, the real goal is to look at it and just try to set a policy for what we should have in reserves. What I'm hearing is we should have about 16 million in reserves.
At least, at least.
And growing.
Yeah.
That's one other number I think that is instructive in this. If we just think, all right, well, let's start today. Let's just set that as a goal, and we start today. Well, you take, for instance, $23 million in water assets that you would give a 50-year life. So you divide $23 million by 50. That annual investment alone would be $460,000. So it starts to make sense.
So we don't have a whole lot of money in our fund.
No, but that's precisely the point I wanted to get to.
Yeah. Okay. It's really good for a while.
Let's don't spend it.
But we are going to award you the Gordon White Award.
Actually, I keep having a little digression. That's a reminder. I apologize for the long. I just wanted to get out at least 2 YouTube seconds.
Okay. We have a letter from
New business?
no, we're on to new business. Discussion coyotes and Riverwoods. We had a dog who got killed by coyotes in Riverwoods. A very unhappy resident who I thought was going to be here tonight, and we have somebody from the DNR to respond. We've had this complaint. This is not the first dog that's got eaten by a coyote. We try to warn people. From what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry, she had 2 dogs and she was keeping her daughter's dog. And she let her dogs out, and the daughter's dog, which was a very small dog, ran out and got nailed by a coyote. Her dogs were trying to protect it, and the daughter's dog got killed, and the larger dogs got wounded of some kind, got the tail. But it's something that we try to tell people, you know, especially during the spring months where the coyotes are breeding, and they're having pups, so they're very protective of their territory.
Didn't the coyotes also take down?
Pardon me?
Didn't the coyotes also kill a swan in Meadowland?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, not to make light of it, but frankly, I see biking a lot. I see coyotes a lot in the woods. I would far rather see a coyote than a pit bull or another similar kind of dog. I mean, they run away from me.
They run away from everybody.
They don't, you know, you come.
The only thing
they're
they're very protective of their young, and you know, if you come close to their den, they're going to nail you if they can. You know, but
right.
This, you keep the small dogs out of it, and you don't bet you can.
Yeah.
There is something, I did a little bit of an internet search, and there are comments that you find of people saying that coyotes become habituated. Sometimes coyotes become habituated to the presence of people, and they become bolder. So that's something new on the block. Traditionally, they shy away from people, but there's a number of reports where they haven't.
I want to
Just wait.
Okay.
I want to, coming from the office.
Yeah, with us today, we have Officer Troy Williams from the Conservation police department. Officer Williams.
I was asked by my captain, Neil Sergar, to come down and address you guys. I've read the letter, and I brought with me some information to share both with the trustees and board, and also with the public. Just like Trustee Patterson explained, coyotes do tend to shy away. They behave different than a regular dog, if you wouldn't mind. But like you mentioned, sir, that they do become, can become imprinted with humans or lose some of their natural habit. I was able to drive around Riverwoods today, and I noticed that, you guys enjoy your trees, you enjoy your green space, you make sure. From the discussion I'm hearing tonight, one of the methods to exclude coyotes is to build fences. Well, obviously, I think fences are probably not a winner here in regards to what I'm seeing from with the deer population that you guys have dealt with. Coyotes, like the mayor stated, in the spring tend to be a little bit more aggressive. We had attempted to get a wildlife biologist here this morning, this evening from Lake County, and then also our district biologist from the Department of Natural Resources when I was unable to attend. But I work for the Division of Law Enforcement. We deal with people and their lawful taking of animals, and I'm here to offer some solutions, basically, to what your options are. And of course, the first option that we deal with is hunting and trapping. Landowners, obviously, can take and exercise that ability where they can. Commander Tyler and myself looked through the village ordinances in regards to trapping, and it states as long as you're within state law, you're allowed to trap on the property. Am I correct?
No, there are limitations to that.
Is that?
I've got a copy of the ordinance here.
Yeah, they have to be flagged. There has to be approval from the village before they trap.
From what I was reading, that was if you brought in a wildlife cooperator. If you yourself was doing the sportsman trapping under the trapping laws, but regardless.
We would have to rewrite that because we had a person's dog caught in a trap that was set and not marked.
And that's an issue with trapping, is that there are incidental catches.
Or kids.
Yeah. And
who run in the woods.
The thing is, the other option that you have is you can obtain a nuisance removal permit from our department biologists, and you can try to do it yourself. Or you can hire one of our wildlife collaborators, which I brought in a list of those people who are permitted from the department to remove coyotes. I'll leave a copy of this information with the clerk and then also with the Commander Tyler. There are people that you can pay for a fee to come in and try to remove an animal. But the thing to remember is if you remove an animal, the habitat's still there. That niche is going to continue to be filled by other animals. So it kind of gets you back to coexisting with the wildlife itself. And that is where they feel unwelcome, they're not going to be. If you see a coyote, you scare it off, you yell at it, you approach it, as opposed to a dog that you may want to shy back from if it shows aggressive behavior. Coyotes will tend to, unless they're cornered or protecting their young, will tend to evade the situation rather than fight you. In regards to them preying on small animals, that's something you have to watch out for because, again, that small animal, your pet, can also be a food source or some sort of prey, or it can be used as a threat. They can consider it a threat to their young, and thus they would take an aggressive action towards it. They may kill it, and maybe whatever they dispose of it, whether they eat it or they just eliminate the threat and deal with it there. They also do prey on waterfowl. That's something that we see out there, that they will take anything that they can find as prey that's a target of opportunity. So the village and its residents, we've got the trapping books here in regards to what the state law is, what your ordinance are. That's something that the residents will have to consult. I can only speak as in regards to our state law. But does anybody have any questions or anything that they?
Can you speak to the benefits of a coyote population in the woods?
Well, coyotes like to prey on a lot of your rodent species. They'll also prey on grasshoppers and things like that, moles, mice, rats.